Hey, welcome back to my spiritual therapy. It's Miss Mocha, your spiritual therapist. I'm coming back with my part 11, I think, of the story behind the children of Israel led to the promised land. I'm almost done. My phone want to be overheating. It is hot up in here, but come on now. Sound like somebody don't want me to get these curses out because messing with God and not following his orders, his laws, you will be cursed. That's what we're talking about. The previous video, I did one for the blessings for obedience, and then I did a part one of the curses for disobedience. This is the part two, just finishing up here. And I started with I'm in chapter Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse I believe is 30, no, 40. And so we're talking about the curses for disobedience. And it says, Thou shalt have olive trees throughout all thy coasts, but thou shalt not anoint thyself with the oil, for thine oil or thine olive shall cast his fruit. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. All thy trees and fruit of thy land shall the locust consume. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkened not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And that or they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever, because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or increase of thy kind, or flocks of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates, until thy high and fenced walls come down, wherein thou trusted throughout all thy land. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord thy God hath given thee. And thou shalt eat of the fruit of thy own body, the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, which the Lord thy God hath given thee in the siege, and in the straitness wherewith thy enemies shall distress thee, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes, I gotta check it. His eyes shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave, so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children whom he shall eat, because he hath nothing left him in the siege and in the straitness, wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in all thy gates. The tender and delicate woman among you, which will not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground of your delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter, and toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children which she shall bear. For she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the siege and straitness, wherewith thy enemies shall distress thee in thy gates. Okay, so I don't understand a lot of this. This is why I be reading the other versions to try to get a better understanding, which I may do later, or just make a couple shorts. But I always encourage you to go out and read it for yourself. Pray to God for understanding. I'm gonna pray for understanding too, and then read the other versions to see if I can get a better understanding, because it's literally saying eating their own children. But again, these are the curses God puts on us for disobedience. So it is wild and it is crazy. Um, Okay, and it says, if thou wilt not observe to do the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, the Lord thy God, then the Lord will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed even great plagues, and of long continuance, and sore sicknesses of long continuance. Moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, which thou wast afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Also, every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of this law, them will the Lord bring unto thee until thou be destroyed. And ye shall be left in few in number, whereas ye were as the stars of heaven for multitude, because thou wouldest not obey the voice of the Lord thy God. And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do you good and to multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you not. And ye shall be plucked from off the land whither thou goest to possess it. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. Okay, almost done. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have none assurance of thy life. In the morning thou shalt say, would God it were even. I cannot pronounce it the way they be saying it. In the morning thou shalt say, would God it were even, and at even thou shalt say, would God it were morning. For the fear of thy heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way thereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Whew, that was such a mouthful, but it's important to know them curses, because if anyone is actually living out these curses, then that means you're being disobedient. Only way to get the blessings is to be obedient. And that was a lot of curses with this video and the last video. So if you feel like your life is cursed, how he put it here, and this is bad. So if you're living a life like this, it's because you're being disobedient, and you should start obeying. Period. So that is what I have for you. As always, thanks for listening.